Innovation is about thinking about things a little differently. It's about solving problems, really critical problems, in ways never before thought possible. Maybe the technology wasn't right then, or maybe because it wasn't socially acceptable, or maybe the timing just wasn't right. Each and every one of you is here today for a reason. Maybe you're looking for a motivation. Maybe you're looking for a reason to get started. Or maybe you're looking for an idea. Innovation is about a very simple thing. It's about changing the world for the better. Today, I want you to believe that you too can change the world for the better. You know why? Because you can. PM 2.5. I think everybody here in this room is probably familiar with it. NASA every year goes around the globe and takes pictures of particulates that are so small that when it gets onto your skin, it goes straight to your arteries and it causes all sorts of problems in your body. If you overlap that with global population density, what you get is what we call UAP-related deaths. These are people dying every day because of pollution. It could be because of transportation. It could be because of energy creation. It can be poisonous gas for different industries. And then if you go in further, these are the critical cities of tomorrow. They're not in the Western world. They're in our backyard. These are cities where thousands and thousands and thousands upon thousands of people are dying because the air quality is not what it used to be. We live in a changing world. By 2030, it is estimated that the amount of megacities will go from 28 to 41. These are cities like New York. These are cities like London, Tokyo. These are cities where thousands and thousands of people are living on top of each other. 60% of the people by then will be living in cities. This will have a very significant demand on energy like never seen before on Earth. 3 billion people will enter what we call the global middle class. Global middle class, by the way, is not about BMWs and Hondas and Toyotas. Global middle class is when people are moving from the village, away from poverty, and finally get a chance to live in a city where their best friend is no longer the person across the street. It is the person across the city. That will generate a demand on energy like nobody has ever seen before. And all this is happening in the emerging market, right in our backyard. 7 million. In 2012, 7 million people died from air pollution. 7 million. Of which 5.9 million people died in Asia, in our backyard. There are great companies out there doing great things with electric vehicles. But it's designed for a different world. It's a world where people can park permanently and have a predictable location where they can actually charge overnight. This is not practical in Asia today. This is how people actually park in Rome, Italy. 6 cars deep. There's no place for a parking meter. How is there any possibility that charge points can be actually installed so you can charge every night? This is how people move about in Taiwan today. 14 million scooters for a population of 23 million people. If you don't count the old, don't count the young, talk about personal transportation. 1 per person. This is how people park scooters in Europe. in Italy. This is how people park scooters in Taiwan at a train station. This is how people park scooters in a university. Can you imagine trying to charge electric scooters? This is just not practical. Unfortunately, the scooter and the transportation of choice for Asia emits more poisonous gas per kilometer than any modern four-wheel vehicles today. People are dying. People are dying every second, every day, every week. 84% are in Asia. This is Jakarta. This is Beijing. For a couple of times a year, they would have special events and stop and reduce the amount of pollution that would get into the air. And look at the difference. Look at the difference. It doesn't have to be this way. So I thought, it's good, but not good enough. That there must be a better way to consume energy. I dedicated the rest of my life to rethink the way we use, consume, and most important of all, experience energy. The AA battery was invented in 1907, standardized by the Americans in 1947, made popular by the Walkman. Remember your father's stereo? It was always tethered to the wall, just like the EVs are today. I imagine a world full of very powerful, very smart, very connected batteries that can start multiple industries, starting with transportation. I imagine a world where people would go around to simply swap batteries when they run out of energy. No charging, no range anxiety, no worrying about whether or not you can get home or how long it would take to charge. Just go wherever you want to go and swap batteries anytime you want to swap. But in order to make the Gogoro Energy Network a successful network deployment, we had to create a vehicle that was very innovative. It had to have very good performance. It cannot be worse than any of the vehicles out there today. It had to stand out. It had to be very smart. It had to be very connected. And most of all, it had to be very, very much dependent on an energy network that is so innovative and so massively deployed that the consumer never has to worry about whether or not they're going to run out of energy. We at Gogoro transform power to create positive change. Power not just in batteries or not in electric grid, but energy in every one of us. Every second we go to work, every second that we are awake, the energy that we put in, that's power. I want to share with you 10 lessons I've learned over the last 20 years. These are lessons I take with me every day that allows me to think about things a little differently, and I want to share those with you. Never take no for an answer. You're the only one that stopped anything from happening, not the other person. Don't take no for an answer. The skill of presentation is the art of persuasion. You alone can't do it. You have to have more people with you that believe in you, that chases the same dream that you would chase. Share that dream. Get rid of the backup plan. Expose yourself. That's the only way to make sure that when you jump from one side to the other side, that you get there. No safety nets. Jump and believe. You're not the smartest one in the room. Listen more than you speak. Other people have their contribution. That's important. Be a team, not be one. If you don't do it, if you don't put in the hours, if you don't put in the energy that it takes to get it done, nobody else would. Lead by example. Dream big. But most of the ideas fall short when it comes to details. So don't forget about the details. Execute with details, but keep in mind the big idea. Execution matters. The difference between the person that runs down the street and says, the car can fly one day, the car can fly one day, he's a crazy person. But the guy that actually made a car fly, now he's an innovator. Don't be afraid of failure. In between failures are little successes that makes everything okay. It's where failures that we learn our lessons. Don't be afraid of them. Try it. Fail fast. Fail early. I live every day as though it's one less day. I never wait until tomorrow. Do it now. If you have an idea, get to it. If you're not happy about the situation you're in, do something about it. Live every day as though it's one last day, one less day. And never, ever, because I hear too many people tell me, what about the money side? How much money are you going to make from this? Never, ever innovate for money. Innovate for impact. Don't chase money. It's not worth it. In this room, some of us are innovators. A lot of us are innovators in this room. Some of us are change agents, and we celebrate those innovators, and we make them happen. Some of us are thinkers, and we share our ideas out there. Some of us care, and some of us subscribe and become consumer of innovative products. That's important. And a lot of us have no idea what we are. A lot of us. But that's okay, because all of us can make an impact together. We can change the world for the better. During my last 18 minutes, 240 people in the world has died because of pollution. Over the next 2 days, 38,000 people will die because of air pollution, from toxic gases, from CO2, from whatever it is that is in the air. People will die prematurely because of air pollution. This is how big the problem is today. This is my story. This is my passion. What's your story? And how are you going to change the world for the better? Thank you.